What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Not a reaction channel, but I have not read through a single one of these cards, so we're gonna discover them together. The final archetype out of the Secret Slayers, we have the Plant Mommy and her friends, starting with Ice Baby. I see what you did, Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization. Snowflower Petal is a water plant, level 1/0/0. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each, so hard once per turn. Good Konami's learning. During your main phase, you can take one Snowflower monster from your deck, except for Petal, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard, so Foolish Burial it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except plants, so it chokes you into plants only. That would include the extra deck, so they're gonna need some work there, I would think. During your opponent's end phase, if you control no monsters, or all monsters you control are plants, and this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Self-revival. It doesn't remove itself. It's a hard once per turn on this, but that's during the end phase, so you probably wouldn't be doing anything too crazy. I can see why it wants to be in the graveyard, and then your turn, you go ahead and you either add one or foolish one. And also just on summon you can do that. It's a level 1, so you can 1-for-1 it. This is a pretty good starter card overall, and it seems like a extender slash grind game winner, since it's going to continue to bring itself back from the graveyard time and time again. Something you can't just leave in there as a resource. As an opponent, you have to take care of that. Snowflower Sprite Prim, a water plant effect, level 4, 800/1800. Oddly, kind of a little girl going into this archetype, and the next card looks like it too. You can use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn. If a monster or monsters you control is tributed, you can special summon this card from your hand in defense position. You can target up to 2 plant monsters you control, increase their levels by 2 until the end of this turn. So there's some Synchro synergy there. That's what plants have been really famous for. Also, I guess maybe Xyz's ability. This isn't choking you into plant monsters only. I'm just gonna say it. Like, I already saw a thread with the artwork and none of the card effects, as they weren't translated yet. It seems like Konami might be trying to reach a new demographic with these cards, I would hope, because I can't call a lot of them waifus except for the Goth Grill later. Like, these kind of, I don't know, Konami's after something different here, it feels like. Chris Hansen, open up. Snowflower Sprite Shukran is a water plant effect, level 4, 1800/800, so mirroring the kind of attack slash defense flip there of the previous card, but also level 4. You can only use this card's first and second effect once per turn each. You contribute this card from your hand or field, then target up to 2 plant monsters you control, decrease their levels by 2 until the end of this turn. So by targeting 2, but you have to tribute the card. That's a lot of work in order to get there. And then I guess you can special summon the other one when this is tributed. During the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was tributed, you can special summon it, but banish it if it leaves the field. Well, then you're hoping nothing happens to it all of that time. This seems, I don't know, I'm not a fan of this effect. This kind of recursion is usually pointless. It even leaves you open to getting Utopia doubled if you put it in attack mode, Lightning Storm. So you're obviously putting it in defense. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of that recursion slash body on board. It seems like a weird kind of place this engine is going. Snowflower Sprite Peony, my bad. Water plant effect, level 6, 1000/2400. You can only use this card name's first and second effects once per turn each. You contribute 1 plant monster, special summon this card from your hand. Okay, that's okay. If this card is normal summoned or special summoned by a plant monster's effect, you can add 1 Snowflower spell/trap from your deck to your hand. So that would include its own effect, since it does not say another. That's pretty cool. So it's a searcher level 6 that puts itself out there and can be made level 8 by the other ones. Okay. But this decreases levels, so I guess you could also make it a 4. We've got Snowflower Sprite Erica, a water plant effect, level 6, 2400/1000. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. When an attack is declared involving another of your plant monsters, you can tribute this card from your hand or field. Your battling monster gains 1000 attack and defense. So tributing is the theme here. Alright. An attack is declared involving another of your plant monsters. It gains 1,000 by tributing this, including from him. If a plant monster or monsters you control is tributed while this card is in your graveyard, so already there, you can special summon this card in defense position but banish it when it leaves the field. See, I like that. This is immediate. The moment it happens, you're going to get it instead of like, well, later during the end of phase. Suddenly, it's the tributing synergy makes a lot more sense and you're seeing the monsters you're going to be play instead of the filler cards. Alright, we got Snowflower Sprite Snowdrop. This is a water plant effect, a level 8, so going more with the Titanial-like cards from before. 1200/2600. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. You can tribute a plant monster. Special summon this card and one other plant monster from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters the rest of the turn except plant monsters. This is perfectly okay. For what you're getting 2 monsters out to lock yourself into plant form. That is fine. You can target a plant monster you control. The level of all plant monsters you control becomes that target's level. So with all the modulation before, now you can turn anything into any level. This seems way better than the cards that were previously there. I'm starting to like this archetype a little more, and this is the art I was referencing. This is like where things are okay, it's looking like, where Chris Hansen's not asking you FBI open up or if you want to have a seat. Water Plant effect, level 8, 2600/1200. You can only use this card's name's first and second effects once per turn each. When your opponent activates a monster effect that targets a monster or monsters you control, if you control a Snowflower monster quick effect, you can tribute this card from your hand or field and negate that effect. So it's a hand trap! This is straight up a hand trap for targeting effects. That's pretty good, but since it's archetype specific and not typing specific, it's going to have to revolve around this deck. It's not like plant monsters, it's Snowflower monsters. So they'll know you have access to a card like this. It's not going to be a surprise if you're playing any plant deck and it's like a tech. If this card's in your graveyard, you can tribute one plant monster, special summon this card in defense position, but banish it when it leaves the field. It sounds like these once per turn effects are somewhat abusable and recurable because you can control levels, then you can overlay, you can do stuff like that. And of course, you do have the Xyz. They're going to make me go through another article to read that. Let's go over her once again. This is Snow Saint Teardrop, a rank 8 Xyz effect monster of 2800/2800, 2 level 8 monsters. You can only use the first effect of this card once per turn. You can detach a material from this card, target a monster on the field, tribute it. This is a quick effect if there is a plant monster as a material, so she's the generic 8 that gets better with plants. Each time a monster is tributed, this card gains 200 attack for each monster tributed till the end of the turn. Now this makes sense. It can probably get pretty massive depending on how the deck plays out, but it's a lot of hard once per turn effects as well. Stunning Snowflower. Spell normal. You can only activate this card once per turn with this name. You can also activate this card by tributing a plant monster. So it's optional too. Add 1 Snowflower monster from your deck to your hand. Then if you activate this card by tributing a monster, add 1 plant monster from your deck to your hand with a different name from the first. Generic plant searching on top. Okay, this is where you need to be going. So you can tribute one that's on the field though, so you would have had to commit, but there's other ones that special summon themselves. This is nice. This is nice. A double searcher, yet it's still 2 cards. It still takes the 2 in order to do it. Okay. Swirling Snowflower, spell continuous. You can only use this card's name's first effect once per turn. If a Snowflower monster or monsters you control is tributed, you can make your opponent tribute a monster they control, but their choice. Once per turn, during your opponent's end phase, if you control a face-up non-plant monster, destroy this card. So, because you're plant locked by so many cards, this is where you should end up in the deck most likely. I like this. It's still a removal on some level because most decks these days, every piece that you typically leave on board serves some purpose, and you're not going to want to be tributing your monsters. So it's still a nice piece of removal on top of what your deck's already going to be doing, but is it worth playing just for that? I don't necessarily think so. We have Silent Snowflower, a trap normal. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn. You can also activate this card by tributing a plant. So all these optional double effects. That's kind of fun. Special summon one Snowflower monster from your graveyard in defense. Then if you tributed a monster to activate this card, special summon a plant monster from your graveyard in defense. So you can kind of tag out for 2 instead of just 1, but you're having to tribute 1 from the field in order to achieve that. And then Snowflower Sheet, a trap normal. You can only activate 1 card with this card's name per turn, and you can also tribute a plant monster if you so want to. Target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Its effects cannot be activated on the field for the rest of this turn. Then if you tribute a monster to activate this effect, take control of that. That's an unexpected twist. Instead of doing 2 or something, take control of that monster until the end phase, and if you do, it becomes a plant monster. I already think people are going to be comparing this to Widow Anchor based on the target a monster, effects cannot be activated, but this is no quick play spell. It's a trap. You're going to have to set it and lay in wait, and it also... It's not like it makes it so they can't respawn or anything, so anything with a quick effect can respawn to this effect, but being able to take it, that's kind of nice. So it's like a slower Widow Anchor that also would have to tribute something in order to achieve getting it. All these tribute effects start to make a lot more sense. You do have superior enablers, where they just special summon themselves out of hands and then are able to bring others out so that you can continue your routes. It's not the worst thing, and it works with generic plants while keeping things very specific. This is the kind of deck building I've been asking Konami for, to have things that apply towards the deck, but then also give generically. I would have actually liked to see Konami go towards generic plant support just a little more. I get that we've lived plant formats. Maybe I'm a little biased because of my roommate, but I don't know. I think this is a good middle ground between the decks. You have the Adamantia, you have the zombie archetype, and this, I feel like this falls towards the middle. It's not blowing me away, but I am seeing that there's potential here. There's definitely potential, and Konami's like to definitely add to these side sets within the core sets a lot more lately, rather than giving us everything right here. So there could be more to look forward to with this typing and deck, but at the same time, it feels like something major is missing to me. It feels like not everything is there. You have level modulation, you have the ability to do these things, but it feels like a deck that exists in almost like 2015 right now to me, rather than something that's modern day. It really feels like it has that focus. You only have the 1 extra deck, or maybe that's where they're lacking. Maybe they need something more there. You get a hand trap, it doesn't do everything. This is like a weaker Widow Anchor. What's missing for you guys from this? Or are you happy? Are you like, John, you're being way too harsh. This has so much potential. It's really good as it is. I could see doing this or that. Right now, I'm racking my brain. This is my first read through, of course, so there's probably things I'm missing, but something's missing from all of this, I feel like. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a like if you enjoy these live reactions and honest thoughts straight out there. I love actually kind of eating the cards in a sense for the first time. That's terrible wording. That is terrible wording. But I do these live reactions for you guys in order to really have like that connection of my player brain getting to go through these, also my market brain like, oh, well, lone fires, are people going to go after those? Maybe certain rarities, but we sure have a lot of different super versions lately. I don't know. It's just something, it's almost all there for me. It's almost there. It's one of those things where something could fix it and bring it all together because it has so much going for it, yet it is just not at the pinnacle of dueling. And it doesn't have to be. These side sets have always been about having those interesting typings that have upward potential, but don't necessarily slam it home, and then once in a while you get a home run like Nekroz or Sky Striker. So let me know what you guys think for real. No edited bloopers. We're gonna upload this as is.